I grew up in a quiet riverside town where everyone knew everyone. But there was one person no one truly knew, Rowan Hale, the old clockmaker at the edge of town. He rarely spoke, he rarely smiled. He worked alone, surrounded by clocks that never chimed. People whispered things about him. That man sees too much. He knows when things will happen. His clocks, they're cursed. But no one ever proved anything. My name is Aaliyah. I was 16 when my mother sent me to help Rowan after he injured his hand. I thought I'd be sweeping floors, maybe dusting clocks. But on the first day, Rowan looked at me with tired eyes and said, "Don't touch the clocks that aren't moving." Strange rule, I thought, but I listened. Rowan taught me how gears fit, how springs breathed, how every tick was the heartbeat of a story. And slowly, he became less of a mystery. Almost one rainy afternoon, Rowan stepped out for supplies. Before leaving, he repeated, "Do not go into the attic." Not for anything, of course. The first thing my curiosity did was look at the attic door. The key hung right there in plain sight, begging me to take it. I hesitated. Then the floorboards above creaked. Something was moving up there in a house that should have been empty. I took the key. The attic smelled of oil and dust. Old blueprints, broken clock faces, boxes of gears. And in the center, a tall wooden clock draped in a sheet. It was glowing underneath. When I pulled the cloth away, I froze. The clock's hands were spinning backward, slowly, steadily, as if rewinding time itself. The plaque at the bottom read 2RH for the hour that should never have been. I didn't understand, not yet. But when I touched the clock's glass, the entire room warped, colors bent, shadows stretched, voices whispered around me in a language I somehow knew. Then the clock chimed once, twice, 3 times. The sound shook the air. I stumbled down the stairs, dazed. But when I reached the workshop, everything was wrong. Tools were in different places. A clock that had been broken earlier was suddenly repaired, and outside the window, the river flowed upstream. Time wasn't just distorted, it was reversing. Rowan returned moments later, pale as a ghost. He grabbed my shoulders. "Aaliyah, you touched it, didn't you?" "The attic clock," I whispered. "It's counting backward." He closed his eyes. "It's begun." Rowan led me to his old work table and sat down slowly. "Aaliyah, these clocks don't predict the future. They show a moment I cannot change, a moment I failed to change." He swallowed hard. "Every clock is a memory, one that I tried to fix, but fate refused to let me." I felt cold. "The backward clock, just that," he said, "is the last hour of my wife's life. The hour I've spent 30 years trying to erase." His voice cracked. "She died because of a mistake I made, and time took her from me." The clock downstairs chimed again, but this time the sound came from everywhere. From the walls, from the floor, from inside my chest. Rowan staggered. "It's reaching the final minute." "What happens when it finishes?" I asked. Rowan looked at me with heartbreaking honesty. Either I'll rewrite my past, or time will take something from me again. The workshop dissolved around us. We were standing in a memory, Rowan's memory. His wife, Lena, smiling. Lightning outside, a broken railing, a fall he couldn't stop. Rowan ran toward her, screaming her name, but I grabbed his hand. "You can't change the past," I whispered, "but you can forgive yourself." The memory froze. The backward clock struck its final chime. The world snapped back. We were in the workshop again. The rooftop memory was gone. The backward clock was silent. Rowan fell to his knees, sobbing not from pain. "But relief, Ilya, it's over," he whispered. I finally let her go, and then he looked at me with eyes no longer burdened. "You saved me." Rowan never made another clock after that day. He didn't need to. Some nights, I walk past the workshop and see one single clock glowing in the window, the backward one. It never moves anymore. But every time I look at it, I'm reminded that even the moments we can't change can teach us how to move forward. And sometimes, the last hour is the one that finally sets us free.